Welcome back. I'm your host, Leslie Cottle, and you are listening to This Empowered Life podcast, the podcast delivering tools, knowledge, and wisdom to empower the soul. Today's episode is all about learning how to surrender. Keep on listening for 2 ways to study and practice surrender in your own life, starting today. So, how to surrender, how to give up control, how do we do it? Surrendering is one of the steps of transformation that can be really hard for people. And yet it's an integral part of transformation. And this is because energetically we cannot hold on to 2 frequencies at exactly the same time. So in the 3D world, if you have a 9-to-5 job that you go to Monday through Friday, you cannot have another 9-to-5 job that you go to Monday through Friday at exactly the same time. In relationship, if you are in a monogamous relationship with a partner, you cannot be in another monogamous relationship with another partner. And then even this spreads to our thoughts. So the idea of feeling worthy or unworthy, you only get to have one of those thoughts in a moment of time. You don't get to be both of those things. You only get to be one. And so when we recognize this, we have to realize that we have to let go of what we know, of what feels safe, of what feels familiar, in order to receive something new. And to receive something new, it ends up putting us in this void of the unknown. And if you're a human, which you probably are listening to this, the unknown is terrifying. It's so scary. And part of that is because our brains are hardwired for predictability so much that it could be to our detriment. So much that we're planning and creating goals and we have expectations of every single milestone on the way. And it's not that goals or planning is bad. It's just that when we're using the logical brain and only expecting and looking for one way to do something, sometimes it's harder that way because you are cutting yourself off from the infinite other possibilities that could get you there. And not only get you there, but some of them could be wildly more pleasurable than what you originally planned. And so stepping into the unknown isn't only important for transformation, but stepping into the unknown is what opens you up to miracles. When you surrender, you experience miracles. And I want you to say that to yourself. When I surrender, I experience miracles. Like just see how that lands in the body. This week I had a really powerful meditation that taught me all about surrender. This week I've had a lot of energy and swinging emotions, so a lot of highs and lows. And when all of these emotions and stories of the past are bubbling up inside of us and they're ready to be released and healed, it can feel so intense, so intense. And we have the opportunity to do one of 2 things when this intensity arises. So we're going back to this idea that we can't do 2 things at once. We only get to choose one of these. And one of the options is to soften and to allow things to move through us and to accept. And the other option is we can tense up, we can resist what's happening, and we can hold on. And as I was observing my body getting so tense and contracted, just by observing my thoughts, I recognize that the body and the mind are so connected. Because it's to a point sometimes that our body tenses up so much that we're not even aware that we're walking around with our fist clenched, or our arms tucked into our waists, or our shoulders slumped. Our body is a mirror to our emotions. And it tells a story of the things that are going on in our life, that have happened in the past, and things that we haven't let go of yet. We can't ignore that stress and trauma is stored in the body. So one of the ways to release these things is by observing and working with the body through relaxation, through movement, and especially through the breath. In this meditation that I was in, I focused on my breath and breathing into my body. And I noticed that I had to loosen my shoulders. I had to loosen the muscles in my neck. I had to loosen the muscles in my jaw. I had to relax my chest. Literally, my whole body needed to relax as I was just so tensely agitated, irritated by these things. And in this process of allowing my body to literally relax, it literally softened my mind and my thoughts as well. And so I want to give you 2 ways to study surrendering in your life. And I say study purposefully because we have to try things on our own. We can't just expect that the knowledge given to us is going to work for us. Everybody is different. And so you get to study your body and how surrendering works for you and how surrendering works for your mind. So these are 2 ways that I love to study my mind and my body. And it's 2 ways that you can study yourself as well. Now, the first is with thoughts. And observation is so, so important. So what you need to observe yourself when these moments come up that you're holding on, when these moments come up that you really want to control everything, and you want to observe the body and the mind and exactly how it is that you're doing it. Are you pushing it onto someone else? Are you refusing to acknowledge that it's a problem? Or are you allowing yourself to look at it? And when you're pushing things away, when you want to hide and run, when you're doing anything but softening, observe yourself. Observe the reactions, and then observe and think about how it is that you could actually respond instead. So remembering that the body is a vessel, and the way that the mind heals is by literally pushing energy in the form of thoughts out of us. And the way we release this is by letting go, not by holding on to it. And another thing to observe is when you're planning things and creating expectations for these every little milestones, I want you to allow yourself to focus on the goal, because knowing where we're going is so important. And it's great to have this idea in mind of where it is that we're going and what it is that we want. And when you have that, I want you to recognize that there are infinite avenues of getting there. Infinite. And so allow yourself to be surprised. Allow yourself to be wrong about how it is that you're getting there. And allow yourself to surrender to what it is, whatever it is, the path, the journey, to getting there. Now, the second thing I want to give you is about surrendering with the body. So the body is this vessel, and it heals itself through pushing energy out of us. And this can happen with thoughts, this can happen with movement, this can happen with dance, with yoga. This can happen with the breath. So just by breathing and relaxing everything, I promise you, you will learn so much about how good it feels to surrender. Notice when things are happening in the body, when you're tensing up. Maybe you don't have the words for it, but you recognize that the body is tensing up. And then see what it's like to soften. Notice what happens in the body when you're trying to control something. And then see what happens when you relax your shoulders, or unclench the hands, or loosen the jaw. What changes? And noticing what happens when you intentionally soften, even in the areas that you don't think that you need to. And give the full body permission to soften, to loosen up, and to breathe. That's it for today's podcast. As always, I am sending you so much love from my heart to yours and wishing you a great, great day. Tune in Tuesdays for more yummy and soulful episodes. If you love what you're hearing and want to support the podcast, please follow and rate the podcast on Spotify and Apple to help new listeners find us. To find out more about my coaching and healing practice, head over to my website, www.lesliecottle.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.